Hey everybody, Chase here with the next installment of Road to Pro. So the first episode we talked about ball control and how that's exceptionally important. Now we're going to move on to the next step. So everybody thinks that you have to have this cannon shot to become a great player. But if you can never get the ball, your shot doesn't matter. So today we're going to go over some very basic passes, specifically stick passes. I feel like me teaching you guys that is going to make it a little bit easier for you since it's what I primarily use. We're going to go over the very basic version, and then you guys can kind of add on to that in later episodes as well. So we're going to jump right into it and get onto the table. Alright, so as you can see, I've zoomed in a little bit more because we're going to specifically keep our eyes right around here and the basics of a passing series. So the reason you hear people call it a passing series over and over again is because a series has to do with multiple options off of what's considered the same set that allow you to do things that look similar but are different. We're going to go over 3 passes today, a standard wall pass, a lane pass, and what is considered a push kick pass. I feel with those 3 passes you can pretty much do what you need to do on a foosball table if you become very proficient at those 3 passes. So the version I'm teaching you today was made famous by Billy Pappas. I feel like it's the easiest way for you to learn a passing series at its very basic level. So to practice this, what you're going to do is you're going to put the guys just angled just ever so slightly forward. You're going to put the ball directly in, like with this guy on the wall, you're going to put the ball directly in front of the second guy. And now you can see that this is the main location that you can do the whole passing series from. You can go wall, you can go lane, and you can go into the push kick pass. This specific pass series isn't my personal series that I use, but I feel like it's going to be the best way for you to move up in a rank very quickly because of its simplicity, because of how quickly you can learn it, and how truly effective it really is. So the basic first step is to get a very good wall pass. Very simple, very basic. Now, to do this, for this set series, you're going to want to actually be on the wall when you pull it before you try and hit it to go through the wall. What I mean by that is when you pull the ball's going to come across, you're going to allow your guy to go back, you're already on the wall with this guy as the ball's coming across, and as the ball gets to be right about here, it's going to go down and through. Now, the reason you saw me come off a little bit to do it here on the example is because inertia essentially allows for you to complete. So when you're said and done, it'll look like this. Now, once you've got a good wall pass going, you're going to want to be able to get a lane pass as well. So to practice that, push this guy down to the wall. And now this one's going to be a lot quicker of a motion, and you have to jump up to get the ball. So when you pull it ever so slightly, this guy, instead of going to the wall, has to jump up into the lane. Just like that. Now the key to this one is getting the ball to be right about here when you make the pass. Now why do I say right there? Well, it is the furthest amount of space that this guy has to travel. If you already have a great wall pass, you're basically forcing this guy to play a game between here and here. It's the furthest amount of space that this guy can travel. Now, if I had something to measure, which would probably be my cell phone in this situation, you can see that, and we'll go this way, that it goes to about here. Well, we'll just go to here, okay? Which is right at the edge of my little button on the side of my phone. Now, if you look at that, in comparison to the length of the guys, it actually goes further. So, because of that, this guy has to travel further than even the space in between the guys. So if you're doing a wall pass correctly, or a lane pass correctly, you barely have to move to hit that lane pass, which means they either have to be staying up here all the time and leaves you the biggest wall imaginable, or they have to live in the wall and try and beat you to the lane. Now, with those two passes alone, you can be very dominant. That's really all you truly need, until you run into somebody that's faster than you. Now, or has a very good read on your 5-bar because of your motion. To get them off of that is what's called the push kick pass. Again, super basic, very little motion, and all you're doing is you're bringing the ball down, allowing it to hit off this guy. You're not trying to bump it back. You're just allowing it to hit off. And then you pass it through the lane. Very simple. Now, the reason you do that is because you're basically making it look like you're doing a wall pass. And the second it bounces off this guy, you've caught him. So if they're playing defense and you pull the ball down, they go to the wall and then you go back up. It's just that easy. Now, there's some keys to this that I think are worth noting. The lane pass and the wall pass, you have to do with some authority. So it's something you have to truly practice a lot. The lane pass, at first, you're going to be hitting it really weak. It's going to probably look like that until you really get that snap. I have found, and I'm going to adjust the camera here for you guys, that if your hand is underneath the rod, when you're gripping it, I kind of hold it with my finger just above the handle, so that when I'm doing this series, my guys are already kind of more forward. It's going to be a little bit harder to go backwards in this situation, but for your series, that's okay because of how you're doing it. You can still move backwards, and you can still tic-tac, you can still do everything you need, but because of the way this series works, you kind of want your hand a little bit more under the rod than on the side. It also works the same way for that wall pass. The cool thing about this version of the wall pass is that this guy can be really close to the wall, and you can still hit that wall pass. Very important stuff for when it comes to practicing a true series and getting a good wall pass. Now, there's a couple things I do want to talk about. Just some general stuff that has to do with 5-bar and some tactics for this series. So we're going to talk about the tactics first, and then I'm going to give you guys a couple little extra hints and tips for some 5-bar practice things that you can do that'll help with this series. So I've always been one that when I'm working this series, I'm looking for one of two things. I'm looking for them to commit to the wall, and basically you'll see like a little extra nudge when they do it. You'll see them kind of like fluttering, and then they'll do this. That's your cue to go lane. It sounds really simple, but when you're sitting here just still, it causes panic in people. So you just have to wait it out. I mean, given you have 10 seconds, but you still have to wait it out. The other is when you do see them stick here, that's a cue. You know that the second this guy comes off of the wall, you've got a lane pass, or a wall pass. You can do it. The pass is there. You know, all they've got to do is budge a tiny bit, and that bad boy is stuck. So, what I would do is one of those two things. Wait for them to come to the wall, boom, hit the lane. Wait for them to come off the wall, you can hit a wall pass. That would be just a general basic starting strategy, and then you can work things around it. Now, no two 5-bar Ds are the same. So you're going to have to find different ways to attack these holes at different timings, at different looks, even maybe give it a flick before you do something, give it a test. You know, don't be afraid to either A, just sit here for all eternity, or B, to do something like that that allows for you to get a little read on what they're going to do. Another thing that I think is a really good practice for this series to get you a little bit more comfortable with how to hit the wall pass clean is to set the ball directly underneath the guys on the side of this man and just pull the man to the wall, lift him up, and the second the ball actually gets touching the wall, literally right there, is when you want to follow through with this guy. So when you're pulling the ball, okay, ball starts coming down, you're on the wall, you lift up, right when the ball gets to right there is when you follow through. I'm going to try and slow-mo this for you guys so you can see what I mean. But that then becomes so tight along the wall that people have to respect your wall pass, which will allow you to have more lane passes. And it becomes really good practice to get a general idea of how to pull the ball to the wall for this series. And you're going to need to practice this a lot. This is something that's very, very important. Without it, you have no ability to actually shoot the ball because you won't ever get the ball. I see too many times, too many guys are just like trying to hack it through to get the ball at random times. You gotta be committed, guys. You have to commit to a series. If it's a brush, if it's a stick, whatever it may be, you have to commit to something to become an expert at it. It's the best way to rank up in this game at a quick pace. And this series will allow you to do that if you stick to it and don't give up on it. Even when you're doing bad, don't give up on it. You've got to learn. You've got to use this as a time to learn and a great time to adapt in practice, in tournament, wherever it is. You've got to get those level ups. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap up this series of Road to Pro. With those basic tips on the 5-bar, you're really going to be able to take your game from a beginner, rookie level up to the expert and pro level, as long as you stick to doing a series. It doesn't have to be that series, but as long as you stick to the game plan and stick to a legit series that has options and looks similar, that's how you're going to be able to really progress your game. If you watch some of the greatest players in the world, that's how they do it. They use their base series and they abuse what they're great at so that they can make you make mistakes. And then they've got you. Next episode, we're going to do, probably go into a little bit more of the shooting aspect, probably from the 3-rod, how to shoot a pull shot. That is my personal specialty, and I think that that'll probably be the best avenue next. So next time, guys, we'll see you on the table, and good luck out there. Happy foosing.